Harry wails, just like his big bro. Watch the evidence.
Everything seemed calm, then suddenly, everything changed. A quiet decision, a hidden truth, and a shocking DNA twist have turned Meghan Markle's world upside down. Prince William's move has left many people confused and asking questions. Nothing feels the same anymore. But what exactly was discovered, and why does it change everything? Stay with us to uncover this mystery. A storm over a royal title. The tale starts off quietly, an initial murmur that gradually evolved into a much larger narrative than anticipated. At the heart of this story is Meghan Markle, a figure whose existence spans vastly different environments. Transitioning from the glamour of Hollywood to the structured system of royalty, her path has been consistently scrutinized. At this point, she appears to be confronting one of her most significant trials to date. This isn't just a fleeting rumor, it carries more weight and seems more intimate. Insiders suggest that Meghan is discreetly getting ready for a potential courtroom battle. The surprising adversary in this scenario could be her brother-in-law, Prince William. Central to this anticipated dispute is something profoundly significant to her: the title of Duchess of Sussex. For Meghan, this designation holds more significance than just being a label. It signifies her standing in history, her ties to the monarchy, and an element of the persona she has crafted throughout her life. Having it taken away wouldn't be a minor adjustment. It would affect her public persona, alter her personal narrative, and impact the legacy she is actively constructing. People around her have noticed a growing sense of unease. It stems from the concern that Prince William, upon his ascension to the throne, might choose to revoke her title. This isn't a new concern. It's an idea that's gradually taken hold, becoming more difficult to dismiss as time goes on. The anxiety intensified following a significant event within the royal family. In October 2025, King Charles III took decisive action. He stripped his brother, Prince Andrew, of all his remaining royal titles and accolades. This bold step caught many off guard and conveyed a strong signal of transformation within the monarchy. This choice wasn't made in a vacuum. It was viewed as a component of a broader strategy to redesign the royal family in anticipation of the future. There are numerous people who think that Prince William and Catherine, the Princess of Wales, backed this path, demonstrating a committed and thoughtful perspective on the monarchy's future progression. In Meghan's life, this event altered all perceptions. What once seemed unlikely became a tangible reality. Witnessing a royal's public loss of titles showcased a potential scenario. The thought that her title could also be revoked shifted from improbable to conceivable. Rather than sitting back and being optimistic, Meghan is reportedly choosing to be proactive. Carefully and discreetly, she has initiated conversations with legal specialists. These are complex discussions. They delve into the intricacies of laws, customs, and historical rulings in the monarchy. Each detail is crucial, and all potential outcomes are being examined. The objective is straightforward. She's eager to learn whether she can defend her position. She's curious about potential options for maintaining her stance should the situation arise. People in her circle confirm that she's earnest about her intentions. She is treating the matter seriously and is not ready to just go along with any outcome that may unfold. Her circumstances are distinguished by her past. Meghan wasn't raised within the confines of royalty. She originates from a vastly unlike environment, bringing a fresh perspective. With her roots as an American and a career in acting, she perceives matters with a broader, international outlook. If any legal proceedings were to commence, this might place her in a distinctive role. The monarchy is experiencing a period of transformation. Globally, all movements and choices are under scrutiny. Opinions of the public can alter rapidly, constantly adding pressure. In this setting, even intimate matters like a title can escalate into significant issues. Meghan's resolve to keep her title goes beyond personal reasons. It ties into broader discussions regarding tradition, authority, and the extent to which the monarchy can evolve without losing its historical roots. This introduces a new dimension to an already widely followed narrative on the international stage. Currently, there's a lot that we don't know. Her thoughts on the legal matters are not being disclosed. If there are any strategies, they're not being made public. Nonetheless, just the possibility of a challenge is enough to keep everyone attentive. One of the key aspects that comes to mind is Meghan's subtle resilience. Throughout various obstacles in her life, she has consistently discovered her personal path forward. This current scenario seems similar to her past experiences. There's no sense of urgency or loud declarations from her. Rather, she's methodically planning her course, taking one deliberate step at a time. As the years roll by, the dynamics within the royal family evolve, leaving the road ahead unpredictable. However, one thing seems evident. Meghan is not the type to passively watch as things happen around her. If the situation requires, she is prepared to defend her interests and what she considers her own. What started off as an uncomplicated report has transformed into something far more impactful. It has evolved into a narrative about self-awareness, resilience, and subtle perseverance. This tale continues to develop, with global attention fixed on it, eager to witness the forthcoming events. But how did this rift start? What's its origin? Stick around. The morning everything changed. The atmosphere in the palace seemed unusual that morning. The typically bustling hallways, often filled with gentle footfalls and hushed voices, were now enveloped in a tense silence. This wasn't the serene type of quiet, but rather a dense stillness, as if the air was anxiously waiting in anticipation. A staff member present later described how odd the atmosphere was. Typically, the phones never stopped ringing, but now there was silence. The press office, normally bustling before dawn, was eerily quiet. Documents remained undisturbed. Monitors were off. People tiptoed around, as if fearing that any noise might shatter something delicate. Out of nowhere, the quiet was broken. Within a private setting, a distinct voice resonated. It was unmistakably strong, compelling, and demanded attention. Prince William issued a straightforward command: let it out. Just those two words were all it took to get things started. In just a few minutes, the announcement reached the public. An hour later, it rapidly circulated online. By day's end, the unity of the royal family had shattered, forming two distinct factions, each with its perspective on recent events. The true strength of the moment lay beyond the announcement itself. It embodied something greater. It centered around the theme of power and influence. For quite a while, there was an escalating sense that the narrative surrounding the monarchy was losing its grip. Focus had diverted. News coverage had become sporadic. Each occasion appeared to invite contrasts. Every assembly threatened to escalate beyond its intended scope. The harmony that previously unified it all started to deteriorate. Prince William noticed this shift. He grasped its implications for what lies ahead. Realizing action was needed, he took it to heart. Leading up to the announcement, a significant development unfolded. Away from the public's attention, a thorough report had been compiled. Royal security was behind its creation, and it was both comprehensive and earnest. It highlighted worries about breaches of protocol, confidential information leaking to the public, and how narratives were being strategically crafted for the world. However, it wasn't just related to formal affairs. There was an additional aspect that was more intimate. A few days prior to the announcement, there was an exclusive gathering. King Charles III, along with Catherine, Princess of Wales, and Prince William, convened for a discussion. The dialogue was complex. It was filled with significance, past events, and emotions. Some people think the king advised patience as a way to maintain harmony among family members. However, William saw things differently. He was convinced that ensuring the monarchy's future stability was of utmost importance. His decision was not made without deep consideration. It was a boundary he felt he could no longer ignore. The uniqueness of this moment is what makes it so memorable. Known for his reliability, Prince William has consistently held this reputation. Following the tragic death of Princess Diana, he remained a pillar of strength for his loved ones. During challenging periods, he was a source of support for his younger sibling, Prince Harry. Amidst heightened emotions and global scrutiny, he maintained stability. What brought about the shift? Determining the solution might be complex. It could involve more than just a solitary incident. Rather, it appears to be a gradual accumulation over an extended period. Minor occurrences, happening repeatedly, eventually became too significant to overlook. Numerous individuals overlooked the precision of the timing for the release. It was made public right before the sun rose in London. During this period, most Americans remained in slumber, and the UK press was just starting their daily routine. This allowed the palace a subtle opportunity to control the narrative before reactions started rolling in. It was a carefully considered choice, peaceful, calculated, made with great intention. The people around William mentioned that he appeared calm the previous evening. He neither raised his voice nor showed intense feelings. Rather, he was composed and confident. It seemed like he had come to terms with the necessary steps to be taken, almost as if he had already made peace with potential sacrifices. That's the reason why this instant carries such significance. Choices of this nature are typically driven by logic rather than feelings. However, when emotions do guide them, their impact is felt for a long time. Nevertheless, there is a price to pay. By deciding to safeguard the monarchy, William might have established a rift that is difficult to mend. The connection with his brother, which used to be resilient and unwavering, is currently undergoing significant strain. Previously, William played the role of mediator, maintaining harmony between the two, but now that harmony seems shattered. A few people think that Harry didn't see it coming. There are those who feel that Harry had a feeling something was on the horizon, but had wished it would be gentle and forgiving. What actually happened, however, was straightforward and conclusive, offering minimal chance for alteration. Beneath that stern exterior lies something more profound. It's a feeling of responsibility, a vow to safeguard what lies ahead, even if it means enduring hardship. When it comes to Meghan Markle, her involvement in the narrative introduces additional complications. While the announcement appeared to center on her, its impact extended well beyond her individual circumstances. It brought attention to the broader framework of the royal family, provoking discussions about authority, duty, and the price of maintaining long-standing traditions. The palace corridors are no longer silent now. The world is watching, listening, and waiting. Because when a single decision can change so much, it leaves behind one simple but powerful question. What comes next? Let's find out. A hidden web of wealth. Under the serene exterior of royal existence, a more intricate reality was unfolding. It wasn't noisy. It wasn't apparent to the eye. Yet, it held considerable influence. A concealed framework was meticulously constructed over the years, with each layer delicately placed on the previous one, creating a labyrinth that was nearly impossible to navigate. This wasn't just a straightforward arrangement for managing finances. It appeared more intricate, resembling a well-crafted plan meant to remain concealed. Each element seemed deliberately arranged. There was an absence of anything coincidental or haphazard. It was an intricate network not only for storing funds, but also for securing, guarding, and maintaining them away from public scrutiny. At the heart of this serene establishment lay a Jersey-based offshore account. This was not a typical spot for keeping money. It wasn't a minor account for ease of access. Instead, it was robust, shielded by global regulations designed to safeguard substantial wealth. It resembled a well-defended castle, stable and secure, encased by numerous legal safeguards. Its establishment sparked subtle inquiries about its timing. It was formed in March 2019, at a juncture when Meghan Markle was still acclimating to her role within the royal family. The timing seemed intentional, tranquil, and purposeful rather than accidental. What added to the strangeness of the situation was that her name was nowhere to be found. Her identity was conspicuously missing from the structure. In its place was an intricate web of connected companies and trusts, spanning various global locations. A business established in the British Virgin Islands had ties to another enterprise in Delaware. This Delaware firm was under the management of a Swiss-based trust. These links added complexity and separation. Every new entity increased the challenge. Collectively, they established a network that severely complicated tracing origins. Specialists frequently refer to this type of arrangement as a method to foster separation and ambiguity. It enables possession to persist out of clear view. This builds an unobtrusive barrier between the individual and the property. Here, this barrier was meticulously assembled, step by step. When the investigators started their process, they took their time to approach the building. Exercising caution and patience, they employed legal resources, financial scrutiny, and a broad understanding of international networks. Initially, it all appeared disconnected. Each segment functioned independently, providing its own rationale. As they carried on, they noticed recurring themes emerging. Minor links gradually evolved into recognizable routes. Eventually, those routes converged toward a single direction. Gradually, the overall image became more comprehensible. Ultimately, Meghan was singled out as the main recipient, at the very heart of it all. This wasn't thrown together hastily. It clearly reflected the expertise of individuals well-versed in financial systems. Every aspect was meticulously planned. All guidelines were strictly adhered to. It was a finely tuned structure that navigated all legal frameworks seamlessly. The circulation of finances in this framework introduced an additional level of intrigue. Money arrived from various sources, each seemingly independent. Initially, no obvious link was evident. However, when considered as a collective, they created a persistent and subtle stream. While conducting a standard examination, inspectors stumbled upon a minor monetary movement. The transaction involved an amount of $499. It was initiated by a company called RQL LLC and directed towards a discrete healthcare center in the United States, renowned for its high confidentiality. The sum in question wasn't substantial, yet it drew attention. There was something about it that couldn't be overlooked. It prompted inquiries that demanded answers. Who was responsible for this organization? What was the reason for selecting that particular location? What was the intention behind making the payment? While the talks progressed, a new aspect came to light. References were made to a confidentiality agreement associated with the transaction. This piece of information altered the entire perspective. What initially appeared minor suddenly seemed significant. It attracted more attention and prompted a more thorough investigation. The scope of the investigation grew wider. It started to encompass travel schedules, surveillance videos, and additional financial documentation from previous actions. Individually, each detail might be easily justified. However, when combined, they started creating a more coherent image, prompting investigators to believe it warranted further scrutiny. While this was happening, an additional significant factor became part of the dialogue. Discussions about royal titles and financial issues had consistently been a part of the narrative involving the Sussex family. Currently, public documents, which also relate to their children, have been incorporated into the broader examination. However, the most touching aspect of the situation stemmed from another source. It was connected to Princess Diana's enduring legacy. Her property was meticulously set up to be inherited by her sons and eventually passed down to their descendants. This trust, worth over £22 million, represented much more than just financial assets. It was imbued with significance. It preserved the family's history. It served as a perpetual link between Diana and the relatives she departed from. During the ongoing review, Prince William began engaging in private conversations with the trust's administrators. They decided to hold off on any potential distributions related to the Sussex children until all details were thoroughly comprehended. This was not a definitive resolution. It was simply a temporary halt. However, it was significant in its impact. It underscored the gravity with which the matter was addressed. It subtly communicated that no progress would occur until there was clear understanding. This period was profoundly challenging for Prince Harry. The trust represented more than just money to him. It symbolized his bond with his mother, a tie to someone he cherished immensely. Having this bond delayed was a burden. It tapped into something intimate, something that transcended policies and choices. As the inquiry progressed, various elements started to merge. The monetary framework, discrete dealings, reliance, and personal connections all wove into a unified narrative. The mood inside the palace was different. Previously tranquil, it now had an undercurrent of unease. Everyone was cautious in their movements. Voices were lowered in conversation. It seemed like something significant was happening, something irreversible. The maze of hidden wealth had been uncovered piece by piece. But even as the path became clearer, the questions remained. How would this be resolved? What would happen next? Let's dive in. Love lost in silence. Some connections never fade away, even as they drift apart. This is true of Prince William and Prince Harry's relationship. It's complicated and can't merely be labeled as broken. It's a profound and painful tie that still holds love, despite the increasing separation between them. Individuals familiar with both siblings have indicated that their bond isn't devoid of emotion. It's not like the indifference found between unfamiliar people. Rather, it's rich with sentiment, yet burdened by past events. It's a type of disconnect where affection remains, but the path to reconciliation seems lost. Not long ago, the siblings exchanged words. Their dialogue was brief. They talked for under a quarter of an hour. During their brief interaction, they didn't say much. Their conversation was conducted with caution, maintaining a calm and measured tone. Neither sibling let their feelings get the best of them. Both stayed within the bounds of caution. Each word appeared to be meticulously selected. It was evident that they both grasped something significant. Whatever they uttered might eventually be revealed to the world. In a time where personal exchanges seldom remain confidential, even a casual chat held significance. They remained cautious and protective. Although their relationship isn't as warm as it once was, there's still some trace of it lingering. It's hidden beneath the layers of their current interactions. This warmth resides in the nostalgia of their youth, in the snapshots of times long past when they were inseparable. People who witnessed their connection back then often reminisce about the abundant laughter, the closeness they shared, and the profound camaraderie that united them. Over time, complexities have emerged. A series of incidents, decisions, and external forces have gradually created a barrier between them. It's not something that appeared overnight. Instead, it has been constructed gradually, bit by bit, until it became a formidable obstacle that neither can easily dismantle. Around this time, another development was unfolding within the palace. As the brothers exchanged their concise and deliberate phrases, Prince William was likewise crafting an address. Individuals familiar with its initial drafts characterized it as tranquil and consistent. The phrasing was straightforward, yet the intention was resolute. There was no intention to criticize or target anyone. Its purpose wasn't to stir up further disputes. Rather, its goal was to provide understanding. The central theme of the address revolved around heritage and ongoing succession. It discussed the monarchy's approach to progressing amidst challenging inquiries. The intention was to offer guidance rather than express sentiment. The speech was notable primarily for its tone. It lacked any hint of anger. It didn't sound defensive. It wasn't sharp or severe. Instead, it was clear, calm, and straightforward. Such a tone is uncommon in contemporary royal addresses, where emotional influences and public opinion usually dictate the language. Certainly, here's a paraphrased version of the text. Prince William had a unique strategy. He appeared willing to bear any consequences from his statements. He realized that his viewpoint wouldn't resonate with everyone. He anticipated that some might perceive his remarks as aloof or unemotional. Nevertheless, he remained confident in his purpose. While a discreet examination was underway in private within the palace grounds, it progressed stealthily, devoid of public announcements or fanfare. The serene atmosphere of the palace persisted, maintaining silence with deliberate intention. This approach was nothing out of the ordinary. Long-established institutions are well-versed in patiently awaiting outcomes, maintaining composure even under the scrutiny of the outside world. Despite the tranquil surface, something profoundly human was taking place beneath it all. Two siblings, who were once inseparable, now find themselves divided by a seemingly insurmountable gap. A brief conversation on the phone failed to mend the rift between them. Though their emotions ran deep, their exchanges remained minimal and insufficient. This moment carries a tender yet melancholic tone. There's no fierce rage or intense drama present. Rather, it's characterized by stillness. It's subtle. It's the sort of separation that develops gradually, unintentionally by those involved. Although the world often concentrates on outcomes, addresses, and decisions, there's an underlying basic reality at the core of everything. The connection between the two brothers persists, though it's been buried under years and past events. At present, it lies dormant, obscured by a barrier that neither sibling has managed to overcome. When the plane touched down, in the chilly pre-dawn of London, when the streets lay in quiet repose under a muted gray sky and the city's inhabitants slumbered, something stirred on the internet. A seemingly straightforward travel document surfaced unexpectedly, carrying significant implications beneath its modest exterior. The paper revealed that a Gulfstream G650 private jet had arrived. The tail end of its registration read 722 SWID. Its destination was not a bustling commercial airport. Rather, it was set to touch down at a venue known for discreet entries and meticulous oversight. RAF Northolt was a stark contrast to Heathrow, where throngs of people and flashing cameras are a common sight. Serving as a military base, it provided a secure and private environment for top government figures and royalty. Opting for this venue sent a strong and unspoken message that significant developments were on the horizon. At Heathrow, journalists and camera teams had kept vigil throughout the night. Although they sensed that an event was on the horizon, its exact nature eluded them. However, once the new record made its entrance, it dawned on them that their focus had been misplaced. The passenger manifest included a name that seemed both recognizable and proper. Prince Harry appeared as Henry Mountbatten Windsor. He wasn't on the journey by himself. Accompanying him were his two young kids, Archie and Lilibet. For what seemed like ages, the kids hadn't made an appearance in the UK. Their previous trip was back in 2022 for the Platinum Jubilee. But now, their time apart was concluding. A single aspect caught everyone's attention right away. Meghan Markle's name was missing from the flight list. Her non-appearance led to a subtle buzz of inquiries as people shared the paper. Curiosity grew, leading individuals to speculate and seek significance in her absence. At the airport, meticulous arrangements were complete. A trio of black Range Rovers was parked close to the airstrip, poised for action. Nearby, two prominent individuals lent an air of significance to the scene. Sir Clive Alderton and Dr. Michael Dixon were there, not accidentally, but as essential players, in a strategy crafted by top authorities. This wasn't just a casual visit to family. It had a formal, more significant nature. Each aspect had been meticulously planned out. The aircraft finally made its landing. It landed smoothly, with the wheels making confident contact with the runway. The engines decelerated. The door stayed shut for a brief period, almost as if savoring the pause. As soon as it eventually opened, everyone's attention was captured. Prince Harry emerged at a measured pace. The burden of recent months was evident in his expression. Without smiling, waving, or acknowledging the distant cameras, he advanced with a serene demeanor, harboring something hidden within. He halted afterwards. He changed direction and headed back to the plane. The subsequent events turned into a memory everyone held on to. At the summit of the staircase, two tiny silhouettes emerged. Archie and Lilibet were visibly present, not concealed or far away, but right in the heart of London's open atmosphere. The world had previously caught only fleeting sights of them, but in this moment, their presence was tangible and unmistakable. They gripped their dad's hands tightly as they started to descend. Taking it one cautious stride after another, each intentional movement was driven by confidence and their bond. The scene was uncomplicated, but it held a subtle strength. In that instant, nothing remained the same. This evolved beyond mere accounts, paperwork, or choices. It transitioned into a profoundly human experience. It turned into something tangible and heartfelt. Two youngsters found themselves in a location rich with their family's legacy, standing on soil that linked them to an untold chapter of their ancestry. Regardless of any conversations held within the palace or ongoing evaluations, they couldn't completely encapsulate the significance of this moment. The kids visited their grandfather, King Charles III. This gathering was filled with the warmth of family, while also bearing the weight of royal significance. It was a moment where their private lives intertwined with their public responsibilities in a serene setting. The introduction of this changed everything. It shifted attention from paperwork to something more profound. It served as a reminder that at the core of every decision are human beings, connections, and feelings that defy quantification or regulation. As a significant choice loomed closer, things were in motion. A meticulous and thorough royal assessment had wrapped up. The results were now known only to a select few. Among them were Prince William, Princess Anne, and the Lord High Chancellor, who were gearing up to determine the subsequent actions. They faced a significant decision. Its outcome had the potential to lead to two entirely distinct futures. One option could be to integrate the children into the royal framework completely. This approach would demonstrate an openness to evolve and grasp contemporary realities, while preserving age-old customs. It could unlock a long-sealed opportunity for mending relationships. The alternative route would take a divergent course. It would establish a distinct and enduring divide. This approach would set limits that would be difficult to breach in the future. It would introduce a gap where there was previously a bond. Each route had significance. Each would create an impact. While the world observed and anticipated, it wasn't just focused on choices and results. Reflecting on that time while on the stairs, two kids clasping their dad's hands, entering an adventure far grander than they can imagine. Cameras were already set up outside Buckingham Palace. Journalists were on standby. Soon, headlines would be crafted. For just a short and peaceful instant, it seemed as though time paused. Even amid significant transformations, it's often the tiny instances that hold the most profound significance.